Hello everyone. So last class I discussed about inductive bias in decision tree learning. So we came to know that the approximation inductive bias of ID3 or a closer approximation to the inductive bias of ID3 is shorter trees are preferred over longer trees, and these trees that place the high information gain attributes, they will be placed very closest to the root or at the root, that are prepared over the other nodes or the other attributes. So that is what the inductive bias of ID3. So in today's class, let us understand the concept called restriction biases and the preference biases. Here we have to study uh, what are the differences, or what is an interesting difference between the types of inductive bias which is exhibited by ID3 and by the candidate elimination algorithm. As we have studied the inductive bias in both the algorithms, so let us understand what are the major differences between the type of inductive bias exhibited by ID3 and by the candidate elimination algorithm. So if you look into the differences, here ID3 searches a complete hypothesis space, and it searches incompletely through this space from simple to complex hypothesis until its termination condition is met. And its inductive bias is completely a consequence of ordering of the hypothesis by its search strategy, and its hypothesis space introduces no additional bias. So we cannot expect any additional bias by the hypothesis space of ID3. Then if you look into the candidate elimination algorithm, here this candidate elimination algorithm searches an incomplete hypothesis space. Then it searches this space completely, finding every hypothesis consistent with the training data. And its inductive bias is completely consequences of the expressive power of its hypothesis representation. Then its search strategy introduces no additional bias. So these are what some of the differences, or the different points with respect to the inductive bias exhibited by ID3 and by candidate elimination algorithm. So in brief, the inductive bias of ID3 follows from its search strategy, whereas inductive bias of candidate elimination algorithm follows from the definition of its search space. So that is what the major difference is between the inductive bias exhibited by ID3 and by the candidate elimination algorithm. Here, the inductive bias of ID3 is a preference for the certain hypothesis over the other hypothesis, and with no hard restriction on the hypothesis that can be eventually enumerated here. And this form of bias is typically called as a preference bias, or alternatively it is also known as a search bias. So in contrast, the bias of the candidate elimination algorithm is in the form of a categorical restriction on the set of hypotheses that are considered. So this form of bias is typically known as a restriction bias, or it is also known as a language bias. So this can also be considered as the one more difference here between the inductive bias which is exhibited by ID3 and candidate elimination algorithm. So given that some form of inductive bias is required in order to generalize beyond the training data, so which type of inductive bias shall we prefer? So a preference bias or restriction bias? So this is what one question in front of us. So which type of inductive bias shall we prefer? Whether to prefer a preference bias or the restriction bias. So typically a preference bias is more desirable than the restriction bias because it allows the learner to work within a complete hypothesis space that it will assure that to contain the unknown target function. So that assurance it will give. So it will assure that to contain unknown target function. In contrast, a restriction bias that strictly limits the set of potential hypotheses, which is generally less desirable because it introduces the possibility of excluding the unknown target function together. Whereas ID3 exhibits a purely preference bias and a candidate elimination exhibits a purely restriction bias. So some learning systems will combine both here. Now consider for example uh, in one of the program for learning a numerical evaluation function for game playing. So this program we have studied in the first module, that is a learning program for the numerical evaluation function for the game playing. So in this case the learned evaluation function is represented by a linear combination of the fixed set of board features, and the learning algorithm adjusts the parameter of this linear combination to best fit the available training data. So in this case the decision is to use a linear function to represent the evaluation function, so that introduce a restriction bias. At the same time, the choice of a particular parameter tuning method, that is LMS algorithm we have studied, so that will introduce a preference bias stemming from the ordering search through the space of all possible parameter rules. So these are what some of the justification for our question. So which type of inductive bias is preferred in order to generalize beyond the training data, whether to prefer a preference bias or a restriction bias. Next is why to prefer the shorter hypothesis. So here the question is the ID3 inductive bias favoring the shorter decision trees that will sound a bias for generalizing beyond the training data. So here the philosophers and the other researchers have debated this question for several centuries, and that debate remains as unresolved till date. So one researcher, or you can say philosopher, that is William of Ockham, was one of the first to discuss this question at around year 1320. So this bias often goes by the name of Occam's razor. Actually, the philosopher William of Occam. So he has done research or the discussion with respect to this question, that is ID3 inductive bias favoring the shorter decision trees for generalizing beyond the training data. So on behalf of his discussion, this is known as the Occam's razor. So according to Occam's razor, the he suggests that prefer the simplest hypothesis that fits the data. So this is what the one statement or one justification given by Occam's, that is prefer the simplest hypothesis that fits the data, means which will fit the training data. So because of his discussion, so this was known as Occam's razor. So Occam's razor is one of the justification statement here for why to prefer the shorter hypothesis. Of course, giving an inductive bias name does not justify it. So why should we prefer the simpler hypothesis. So notice that the scientists sometimes appear to follow this inductive bias and for example prefer a simple explanation for the motions of planets over more complex explanations. So why? So one argument is that because there are very few short hypotheses than the long hypothesis, so it is likely that one will find a shorter hypothesis that will considerably fit the training data. So in contrast, there are several complex hypotheses that fit the current training data, but they fail to generalize correctly to the subsequent data. Now consider the decision tree hypothesis. For example, there are uh, many more than 500 node decision trees than 5 node decision trees. So this we can consider it as an one of the example for a decision tree hypothesis. That is, there are more 500 node decision trees than 5 node decision trees. So given a small set of 20 training examples, we might expect to be that we can find many 500 node decision trees consistent with these training examples, whereas there would be more surprised if a 5 node decision tree could perfectly fit this data. That's why you can say that there are more 500 node decision trees than the 5 node decision trees. We might therefore believe that 5 node tree is less likely to be a statistical coincidence and prefer this hypothesis over 500 node hypothesis. So this is just an argument here. So in favor of why to prefer the shorter hypothesis. Upon the closer examination, so it turns out that there is a major difficulty with above argument, means with the previous argument, like why to prefer the shorter hypothesis. So by the same reasoning, we could have argued that one should prefer the decision trees containing exactly 17 leaf nodes with 11 non-leaf nodes. So that will use the decision attribute. Suppose consider A1, right, at the root node, and the test attributes A2 through A11 in the numerical order. So there are relatively very few search trees, and we might argue that there is a prior chance of finding one consistent with an arbitrary set of data. So it is very small. The difficulty here is there are very small set of hypotheses that one can define. So most of them, rather the very rare cases. So why should we believe that the small set of hypotheses that are consisting of the decision trees with the short descriptions so should be more relevant than the multitude of the other small sets of hypotheses so that might define here. So that is what one of the argument, or you can say one problem with respect to the previous argument, that is why to prefer the short hypothesis. So the second problem with the above argument is that the Occam's razor is that the size of a hypothesis is determined by the particular representation which is used internally by the learner. So two learners are using the different internal representations. Therefore, they will arrive at the different hypotheses. But both will justify their contradictory conclusions by the Occam razor. Now, the last argument shows that the Occam's razor will produce two different hypotheses from the same training examples. So when it is applied by the two learners that will pursue these examples in terms of different internal representations. So on this basis, we might be tempted to reject the Occam's razor to altogether. However, consider the following scenario. Consider one scenario that will examine the question of which internal representation might arise from a process of evolution and the natural selection. Now consider the scenario. So imagine a population of artificial learning agents created by a simulated evolutionary process involving the reproduction, mutation, and the natural selection of these agents. Let us assume that this evolutionary process can alter the perceptual systems of these agents from the generation to generation, so thereby changing the internal attributes by which they perceive their world. So, for the sake of argument, let us assume that the learning agents employ a fixed learning algorithm, say ID3, that cannot be altered by evolution, as that is fixed. And it is reasonable to assume that over the time, the evolution will produce the internal representation that will make these agents increasingly successful within their environment. Now, assuming that the success of an agent depends on its ability to generalize accurately, and we would therefore expect the evolution to develop internal representation that works well with whatever the learning algorithm and the inductive bias is present. So, if the species of agents employ a learning algorithm, so whose inductive bias is Occam's razor, that we expect the evolution to produce internal representation for which the Occam's razor is a successful strategy. So the essence of argument is that the evolution will create the internal representation so that make the learning algorithms inductive bias a self-fulfilling strategy, because it can alter the representation easier than it can alter the learning algorithm. So these are what the some of the arguments or some of the problems with respect to the argument, that is why to prepare the shorter hypothesis or the justification statement given by the Occam's razor. Now let us see some of the issues in the decision tree learning. Let us see what are the issues in the decision tree learning. So there are several practical issues in the learning decision trees, including determining how deeply to grow the decision tree, then handling the continuous attributes, then choosing an appropriate attribute selection measure, then handling the training data with missing attribute values, then handling the attributes with differing cost, then improving the computational efficiencies. So these are what some of the major issues in decision tree learning. So for these issues, so I'll discuss these issues and extensions to this basic ID3 algorithm that will address them. So in the next class, I'll discuss some of the issues in decision tree learning. So I'll discuss these issues one by one. So the major issues are avoiding the overfitting the data, then incorporating the continuous valued attributes, then alternative measures for selecting attributes, then handling the training examples with missing attribute values. The last issue is handling the attributes with differing cost. So these issues I'll discuss one by one in the later classes. Thank you.